Alright, there we go. Back into it. That's always a bit of a rough fight. The poison damage is pretty strong. You can use your damage reduction items to make yourself a lot tankier during it, but I've never died to the fight, so I don't really see the need to be overly cautious. For your first time, probably. I think he is a beast from memory. Yeah, he is a little dangerous. Just watch out for the kind of poison cloud who'd dump on your feet. Oops. Alright, so Ragnarok. Ragnarok is dangerous. There's a lot to be careful of. It's also not as hard, I would say, as the previous two acts, Atlantis and Hades, for different reasons. There are some enemies in particular to watch out for, and some little pieces of bullshit that if you're not aware of it, it can get you killed. I'll point them out as we go to them. There's a couple items I do want to try and pick up towards the end of this act. Mostly from the golden boar. Apart from that, there's not a lot I want to go out of my way for in this one. If I think of anything on the way through, I'll mention them, but there's not too much. I guess I should show them to you now. Might as well. The first one is this sword here. It's really good. You get block chance, which is pretty good. Shield recovery, it's also very good. Dodge and evade, strong. Increased experience is the main reason I really like it. But you also get a bit of health and a bit of total speed. It's very strong, like all around. This sword is just great. And you try and pair that with the this one. Recharge, 50% block chance, which is ridiculous. And 300 defensive ability, also insane, and even more experience. Now you can get both of these from the golden boar. I tend to find the shield more often. I think this sword is a little bit rare. Wherever it is. Yeah, there it is. It's much rarer. I have found it from him before, but the place I like to farm it is from this spider in Act 1. Because she can both equip it and drop it from the chest. It's pretty good odds. Much better than these two. It's quick to farm, you're not in any danger. But there is a chance we'll pick it up in this act. Because I do intend to do 50, 100 runs of the boar. Depending on what we get. In this act, I honestly skip through it a lot. I try to do some of the quests, but I've kind of ruined this act for myself. Later on you get a quest where you can upgrade a piece of either epic or legendary gear with the forge. You only get one per character, but if you stock up on gear and use a character that starts at level 70, you can come back to this act and rush it. And you can rush to do an upgrade. About 40 minutes. With better gear, you can do it even faster. Like if you max out or your cooldown and just run through the act as fast as you can with Colossus, you can do it in 25 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. But I've done that so much that my natural inclination with this act is to just sprint through it as fast as I can. Which I probably will do. Partially also because the giants that you encounter later on, they take forever to kill. They're just a pain in the bum. They have so much health, they don't give you a lot of experience, the items aren't great, they just slow you down, so I just skip them. And there's a lot of enemies like that in this act, there's a lot you can skip. Especially because you get huge power up in epic difficulty, even Act 1 epic. So this act is... You can skip it and not feel too bad about it. Just skip through as fast as you can. I'll try and do most of the quests. Definitely the ones that give you good rewards. Yeah. This is the first quest coming up. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I've talked to everybody in here, every single quest, every character you can talk to. No matter what I do, this quest will break on me. It's Siron. You beat him, and you're supposed to get, I think it's just gold and experience for it. But for some reason, I just can't complete the quest. None of my characters have done it in a long time. He dies and the quest doesn't complete, no matter how many times. I'll point it out to you, actually. Oh, and I should point this out too. See these guys here? They can drop a very rare item. Oh, 4 very rare items, actually. What are they called? And where are they? Why am I blanking on the name? There we go. Bloodburn. Jeez. These ones here. These Bloodborne. These all drop. You're supposed to farm them in Hades from the Mackay, I think they are. The kind of pale-skinned demon-looking women. They drop them, but and they're some of the rarest items in the game. They're not very good, but they look really cool. Actually, might as well show you. There we go. These items, they look amazing, but they're very, very rare. Yeah, they do drop from the mages, the mage humans in this area. So if you do want, bloody hell, far back. Yeah, they actually have a slightly higher drop chance off the humans than they do the Mackay, where you're supposed to farm them. So if you ever want them, that's the place to do it. In the first area, right up into a Siren, somewhere around there. You can find the chest, the legs, and the arms pretty easy, but I find the helmet is just painfully rare. I've only found one in the entire time I've been playing, and I had to deliberately go out of my way to farm that, and it took months, not even joking, months of farming to get this thing. And it's not good. I wouldn't recommend it. It just looks really cool. But yeah, they drop off the enemies here. And it's only the mages. I'll find another one to point out. Yeah, these guys here. Sometimes you'll see them with the white versions of those items on. So I'll run straight through the side. He's not very far. He can be a little dangerous. And you should watch out for these guys too. They have the same effect they do in Act 1. They can drop down the banner, stun you. They're nowhere near as lethal because your character is naturally a lot stronger at this point.
Got him.
And yeah, this is the quest. For some reason, it just doesn't complete for me, no matter how many times I try. So the quest is, you're supposed to kill this guy, and what happens when you get him down to a certain amount of health, he'll run up here, he'll run away, and then you kill him and the quest gives you the completion. You get back to town, get rewards for it, I think. It never happens for me. Maybe we'll get lucky here, but... Yeah, see how he is now? How he's moving around really fast? At this point, he's supposed to run away. He's supposed to go up and hide up the back. He just doesn't do it. I don't know what it is. It's really annoying because I have like a dozen characters that have every quest complete, except for this one. He's also kind of strong too. And so yeah, he's supposed to run back to somewhere around here, and then you kill him for the quest completion. Never happens. Yep, and if you notice, I didn't even get the quest prompt. I talked to everybody in town. I'd been back more than once. I don't know what it is. Something about that quest. It's just bugged. Never works for me. It's not like it's a huge loss, but I don't know, just annoying. Maybe you'll have better luck with it. Oops, missed it. Yeah, this place is a little dangerous, more so back there. The humans can hurt a bit, especially with Sarian around. But after that, it's pretty easy up until you actually get to the north proper. And man, I love this act once you get up through there. Okay, so here we've got some dangerous enemies. These guys here, they can cause a lot of bleeding damage. But they're also dangerous for another reason. These guys, see the stun? If you don't have a lot of stun resistance, like I do, they can chain stun you. If there's more than one, I'll see if I can find another one. No. But this rock throwing attack, you can get hit by one of those and another one, and you can't escape it. You'll just be stuck there until you die. It's happened to me before. You can get out of it with some abilities if you're timing it right. But yeah, you really want to be careful. These guys and the little ones, there are certain enemies, I think, see this red thing here? I think it's these guys. You can take a lot of bleeding damage. Your health will just drain very quickly. So just be careful of those. They've killed a lot of good players before.
Guys, that's what they're gonna bring to the table. Like there was oh my god, what the fuck was that? Bleed. Yo, fuck this guy.
Now, this is a part of the game where I think if you're following along or playing a similar kind of character for your first turn, this might be a place where you die. It wouldn't surprise me too much. It's a little ambush. A bunch of guys pop up once you talk to this guy here. They can be very dangerous. You can get stunned easily, swarmed. Best thing to do is, if you can't survive them, just pull them back, fight them a few at a time. And yeah, once you see him drop the banner, run back. It's not worth it. The boss, he's the most dangerous. Once he's gone, the rest of it's pretty easy. I just recommend being cautious with this fight. It could kill you. Now these guys here, they can drop an actually pretty good weapon. I can't recall the name of it. It's a sword. Raven something? Yeah, this one. This one here, they have I find it fairly frequently, so it's not too hard to farm. The base damage is good. It comes with slow reduction to health, quite strong. But also going through the skill Lethal Strike, which if you have a look at that, is pretty good. It's very strong. So if you want, farm one of those here. I should probably mention that I've been drinking a fair bit during this playthrough. So if we die, I'll blame it on that. But yeah, I love this act. Everything from just the environmental details to the music to the enemies. If you put a gun to my head and forced me to pick a favourite act, I don't know if this beats Act 1 for me, but it is very close. Very, very close. Yeah, actually, if they removed these from this act, then this act would be my favourite. But these fuckers, God, they're annoying. They slow you down, and they also do a pretty good amount of damage, but they also make your ranged attacks miss all the time, and they're just a pain in the ass. I'll show you. If you watch, I hit like one attack out of that, and I think the big ones, I'll try and find one. There's a bigger version of them. They apply some sort of debuff, I think. Yeah, this one. I can't remember what it is exactly that they do. But yeah, the damage is pretty good. It's a bit scary. I really don't like fighting them. Just be careful around them, especially if you prefer to use your throwing weapon a lot, or even a bow. They just make you miss all the time. Okay, so if you ever want to farm experience, this is a good place to do it. Because by this point of the game, you've kind of eclipsed the amount of experience that anything worthwhile farming gives you from the Thebes, from the temple just past it, Hatshep, so that's good early on, but once you get into the, the 40s, 30s to 40s, experience just starts to fall off. Not too far from here, we're near Glabeg, just there. There's a place coming up that I find very good for experience. It used to be even better, then they nerfed it, but it's still particularly good. Just by sheer number of enemies. It can be a little dangerous, so if you find yourself taking a lot of damage, maybe skip it and farm the next act. But yeah, you want to grab this fountain here, and it's from here onwards. Mainly these guys. So what they do is when you kill them, they'll spit out a smaller version of themselves, which is just more experience. So you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 5 here. That's really 10 plus the bear. That's a lot of enemies you can kill very easily. Now if you have a look at my experience bar, and that was less than 30 seconds of fighting, and you've already got this much. And there's a whole huge area just full of these kind of enemies. So it's great for experience if you want to grind a few levels before you go on. And be a little careful of these guys. That shotgun attack can hurt. But yeah, oh, see the little one? It's just more experience for you. It's very easy to level up here. It's just sheer numbers of enemies that make it useful. Now, you do want to be careful. I'll point out a few dangerous spots. I think there's one here. You want to be a little careful. Sometimes it can be dangerous. You can get stunned by this guy. But the real dangerous spot, there's a chest just up here. Good for experience. But this one, a bunch of guys will pop out. You just want to be careful. Sometimes you can be put in a bad situation. But as you can see, the experience here is very good. And so you clear this whole area out up until the next fountain. And you can either grab this one and run backwards. So you just save and reset and spawn here. Or start at the front and run up to here and just avoid the fountain. Up to you, into either. And yeah, just clear this out. There's more around here too. There's a cave up here. Really good for experience. Okay, there's a couple quests here, one of which I would really recommend doing. The reward is very good. But I'll point out the other one too. See these guys here? These Bilbus. There's a big version of them. He's kind of purple looking. He'll jump out of the ground basically. You have to stand pretty much on top of him for him to appear. It's usually somewhere around here, I think. He can be a little difficult to find. Here he is, this one. Now, he drops this scythe. And you can give it to two separate people. And there's one that gives a better reward for it. I think the first one is back in Corinth, and the second one is... I can't remember. It might be the next town up ahead, or it might be back in Glauberg. But you want to give it to the person in Corinth, because they give you a little bit extra. I think they give you money, or something that makes it more worthwhile to come back here. Yeah, this woman. I think it's extra money. Or maybe the experience reward is higher. I can't remember. It's something like that. Or maybe I gave it to the wrong person. Honestly, I skip the quest most of the time, but... I'll look it up, just to be safe. There we go. This one. Yeah, here we go. Experience for Corinth is 45k, and experience in Kopanga. Oh yeah, that's pretty far away actually. But that's 20k. As you can see, it's worth going back to Corinth. Rewards is far better. Yeah. And so here's the other quest, the one I actually recommend doing. It's to help this Nixie out. Now, rather than start the quest straight away, what I recommend doing is just kind of stick to the bottom edge and just clear everything up until you hit the water. You'll find like a lake, sort of. Just clear everything along the path to it. It's not very fun. So yeah, clear everything up to here, which is the end of the quest, and then just run back and walk her along, just to save your effort from her dying. Because these guys will home in on her. For some reason, they try and chase her down. And they'll kill her pretty quickly. It's possible to break the quest too. You can complete it and not get the quest reward. So I'd recommend being just as cautious as possible. Clear everything before you do it. Because the quest is very worth it. It gives you an extra skill point. When she gets to about here somewhere. There we go. And we did just level up too. So I'll put the points in. Yeah, that'll do. So we've got 4 because we got the bonus from her. Now, I think it's tough. I really want this maxed out. And I do want 1 here too. I think I will. I'll put 1 here for now. And I would like to get a point here, at least into this one for the movement speed. But for now, I'll put the 1 here and another 2 here. Another 3, sorry. The stats are very useful. It's more health. And as for this skill here, perfect block, you need your shield out for it. But what it does, you'll notice the attack speed slows down a lot. But that makes you invincible for that short period of time. And the cooldown is very quick too. A lot of people don't use this skill, but I'd recommend getting used to it. Work it into your rotation. It has a few uses, like if Typhon is about to drop a whole bunch of meteors on your head, and you see them, they're falling on you, press the button, they'll all slam into you, you'll take no damage, or negate most of it. It's very, very strong. And if you see a big enemy, he'll be charging up like a big swing of his axe or his club or something. Just as it's about to hit, press the button, activates, reduces the damage to 0. As you can see, it's 100% damage absorption. Now it also has another little use I like to make use of. 2, actually. If you're surrounded by enemies, you can press it and you won't take any damage. But if they're all attacking you, as you can see, it has stun retaliation. That means they'll all stop attacking you for a second, which is really good to run away, to get yourself into a safer position. And to work even better with that, it increases your movement speed. And this goes up every level. And if you get this up to 8, 9, 10, that's a lot of movement speed. It doesn't look like much now because it's only, 20%, but you get a few points into that. You can constantly be pressing this skill to save yourself time when you're running around. If you watch here, 123. And if you're, because the cooldown is so short, it's only 12 seconds. If you're, jumps up to 140, and you can do that very frequently. And if you're traveling around a lot, farming certain areas, use it to save your time. Especially once you get a legendary version of this, the extra +2, they'll go a long way. The movement speed is quite strong. Now I'm going to run through here very quickly. Whoops, going the wrong way. Because this part of the game, you can go through here and farm everything if you want. The enemies aren't too difficult. But the boss is coming up here. There's 4 of them. You can die very easily. I've lost a couple characters here actually. They're just boss versions of these guys. And like the mage version. And another one who has a bear with him. They can kill you super quickly. So one thing I'd recommend doing is clearing out the enemies on your way to the area. Because you really don't want that mess that I just had to fight through. There's 4 locations you have to run through. There's one here, another one down there, another one up here. You don't want that mess of enemies chasing you through every doorway when you have a boss just on the other side. So I'd really recommend clearing out your path on the way to them. They're not all super difficult, but some of them can kill you very easily. Nasty bugger, that one. So one other thing they do, the mage versions of them, they'll summon that kind of, it's like a plant, and it'll appear under your feet, or sometimes if you run up to go and attack it, it'll root you in place so you can't move until you destroy the plant. This thing, see this thing here? If I run up to it, it will trap me in place like this. So I'm trapped. You can't move until you kill it. And if you don't realize what's happening, if you're just trying to click off and run away, you will die. You won't know what's going on. You'll be being hit by enemies. It'll be under your feet and you have to attack it. Like this. See, I can't move. You have to destroy it. And so bloody hell, you really don't want to fight these guys while you have a boss at the same time. And so here's the first one. This one's not too bad.
Holy for the goddess.
I'd recommend stopping around here and just clearing everything out. Clear all these guys out that chase you. Jesus, am I just putting together this whole set? But yeah, you don't want these guys fighting you at the same time as the boss. And here he is. Now you'll notice he's a beastman, and we have a lot of stuff for that, so we'll equip these two. Makes the fights a lot easier. I'd still recommend clearing out everything else first though. Now he can summon more enemies too. I'll try and get him to show it off. I think it's this one that summons. He doesn't seem to want to do it. Yeah, okay. Holy shit. Is that all of them? I think we might be missing the legs. That's ridiculous. Yeah, oh my god. Just those, the wraps. That's crazy. I know they're pretty common, but to find 4 of them that quickly. And these things are pretty cool too. They have the recharge, if you have a look. 44% chance of recharge. Energy cost, and I think those ones have nothing too much. What do these have? Yeah, more energy cost. But yeah, they could be a pretty good set if you had some decent ones. Might be a little too loud. Now, one other thing I should point out too. This skill, another way I like to use it is if you're getting attacked by a lot of enemies and your health is constantly going down, you drink your potion and your health will still be going down. And if you're going to die before your potion comes back up full, you press that and it affords you another second or so to recharge your potion. It's good to get into the practice of doing that. It can give you the few seconds you need of free time in between potions to be safe, to get the cooldown finished. It's a very useful skill. I'd really try and, if you're playing defense, get into the habit of using it. Even just for increased movement speed. That alone is very good. Now I want to show off the one I think is the most dangerous. It's this one up here. Bleeding resistance is pretty good. If you have the intelligence, that could be a good swap piece. And so yeah, this area, I highly recommend clearing it all out before you fight the boss, because this guy up here, Ancient of the Wild, he's the most dangerous one for sure. Just the flat damage he does. It won't be so bad because I have the reduction, but if you don't have any of this, he can do a hell of a lot. He'll kill you very quickly. He has his bear too. He's throwing, which is bad enough on its own. So I'll show his damage off. This is with the damage reduction, by the way. So he's doing around 100 damage per hit, give or take. So if I didn't have these, he'd be doing 4 times that much. And for how fast he's looking, that's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Yeah, why don't I just show you? Let's have a look at his damage. Yeah, you don't want to be fighting that kind of damage. That's a lot. Now the other two, they aren't anything worth worrying about. I'll show you one of them just to point him out, because I suppose he can be a little threatening. It's more so the enemies in the area around him that can be dangerous. I think it's back here. Yeah, all the enemies around here. There's a lot of them. They can be pretty dangerous. So again, clear them out before you approach the boss. Those Nixies hurt so much. I think they do a lot of maybe cold damage. I'm not too sure. But it's a lot. So you want to be careful. There he is. This guy, he's not too bad. He does a little bit of elemental damage, as you can see. He has the two rune skills, this one and this one here. They aren't too bad though, they don't do a lot of damage. But this will stun you. You just don't want to fight him at the same time as all those guys we just killed. Yeah, and the third one, he's trivial. He's not a problem at all. He's more of a defensive character, so nothing to worry about. Okay, we're just coming up on Scandia, which has, I think, probably my favourite piece of music in the entire game. Maybe the Silk Road is a little better. One of those two. But this theme, I love it so much. It's just perfect. It really captures that Northern Europe, Scandinavian, North Germany, Viking, even Celtic sort of thing. Yeah, I can just listen to it all day. One thing I should point out here is if you weren't lucky enough to find something like this, really good throwing weapons, in this act, check the shops. You can find some great throwing weapons here. Really good ones. There's also the Golden Ball, which is coming up very soon. That you can farm for great items too. I'll point that out when I get to it. And I'm just around the corner from the Golden Ball. I'll clear the way. Now this boss can be really good to farm on all difficulties. it can be dangerous because it, I think it causes bleeding damage and it can reflect your own damage too. Now, it is a beast. What are we getting here? You? What is flashing at me? Nothing. Okay. Yeah, he's a beast, so this stuff will do wonders. I'll show off his attacks. Now that, I think, is bleeding damage. Come on, do it. It reflects your damage. But yeah, he'll do a lot of damage. Yeah, it's not instant damage. It'll drop you over time, but it's very quick. I'll show it off, provided he doesn't kill himself. Yeah, so that was around 1300, and that is with 35. That's with 75% reduction, so if he hit you without any of those reduction items, that's a good 4,000 or 5,000 points of damage. So you can see why you've got to be a little careful around him. But yeah, he has very good drop rates on items, so I'd recommend farming him. On normal, as I said, you can get the this sword and this shield. Both are worth it. You're more likely to get the shield, and if you pick that up first, then just go to epic difficulty. You can pick the sword up from the spider. But they're both very good, and they work really well together because the sword has block chance, and plus the experience stacks nicely together. You get a good chunk of experience. So yeah, it's an easy farm. I mean, you just got to run up here, and if you run through it, all the enemies here, as long as you chase the ball up till around here somewhere, all the enemies back here will stop chasing you. So the farm you can do in a minute, 30 seconds if you're fast enough. But before I farm some of that, I want to point this out to you, because this is another very, very dangerous area. The Asgardian guys in here, they'll kill you very quickly. The damage they do is crazy. They can drop the banner. This is just two of them. They'll stun you. They're nasty. Now it's worth noting that most of these guys in this game aren't this difficult. Most of them go down a lot easier. They don't do as much damage. Just these ones in this building in particular, be careful. If you're too worried about them, because they can kill you, just skip them, pop the chest, grab the item, and then save quickly. Or press whatever you have teleport assigned to. It's typically K. So yeah, what you do, ignore that. Grab the spear and then either press that or just press key binding. I've got it set to K, this one here, reset player, but press that and you'll be out of here, because you don't want to fight these guys. Like, that banner is very strong. That reduces their damage. They'll stun you. Yeah, just be careful. Now here we have Corpango. I think that's how you pronounce it. A few things of note here. I want to pick this quest up, which is this one here. It's 2 skill points. It takes a little while to actually get the quest, but yeah, you definitely want to complete it. The other thing, these guys here, the Ichthyans. I was kind of hoping something would drop. They're kind of rare, but what you can get from this place is there's a few items actually. Am I spelling it wrong? How are these guys spelled? I see H. Oh, that's not that. There we go. Okay, the first one, Ichthian Stinger. Not very useful for this character, but the pierce ratio is really fun. This basically means if this procs, your pierce ratio will jump from 33 to pretty much 100%. And it can roll higher than this too, higher or lower. If you're building a dex character with a bow, these are very fun. Try and find a good one, sometimes you get lucky. But now you can also get these ones here, Ice Scale. Pound for pound, I'd say these are probably the strongest items in the entire game. You get all your armor slots, but what they do, they give you this reflection skill. If you have a look per difficulty, these are the ones I can farm now. It's 15% chance of 200% damage reflected, and up to 500% on legendary, and that stacks 4 times. So if you've got each piece, you'll be running at like a 15% chance 4 times over. They don't interfere with each other either. They're all independent. So basically every time an enemy hits you like that, you'll swing his attack at you, it has a chance to proc this one, to proc this one, and this one, all the percentage chances. And the damage he does, that will be reflected back to him 5 times over. And they can stack too, so you can get up to 20 times damage. And these things are absolutely ridiculous. Easily the most ridiculous farming for Typhon you'll ever see. If you have a way of making yourself invincible, like Perfect Block or Earth Mastery's Stone Form, he'll cast his meteors, they'll drop down on your head, you'll be invincible, and he'll take like 600,000 damage in 1 second and instantly kill himself. It's really fun, and it clears crowds very easy too, because you can focus, once you've got these 4 pieces, you can focus absolutely everything else in your character, to health, to resistances, to dodge, to avoid, just to staying alive, because all of your damage will come from these, and it's more damage than you could ever need. You can clear whole screens of enemies in seconds just from them attacking you. Now, it doesn't work on every kind of enemy. There are some that are very resistant to their own type of damage, like if it's so this guy here, he's hitting me with an axe. If it was like a fire giant and they shoot a fireball at you, it's going to reflect 500% of that damage, but it will reflect it as the same damage type as fire. So they won't take very much damage. But these things are still more than strong enough to clear the entire game, all 3 difficulties. And they're not too rare either. They'll take a little while to find, especially good versions of the item. But there's a lot of the Ichthyans around here, like these guys. Just kill all these. There's more, there's a cave up ahead too. It's just full of them. As you see, they're everywhere here. Just tons of them. And they all have a chance to roll with this stuff. Except for maybe the mages. I can't remember if they can wear it. I think there's a hero back here. You should be a little careful. They're not too dangerous. They can trap you and overwhelm you with numbers. Where was that boss I saw? I'm sure I saw one. Here he is. Yeah, they have a pretty good chance of dropping them. I've never found them too hard to farm. Like if you want a full set, it won't take you that long. And they're that good that even if you get them with energy, if that's all they roll with, it's good enough. It's plenty. Like the damage they offer is ridiculous. Sure, you'd like some with resistances or health or whatever in them, but yeah, even for a character like mine, it could be worthwhile thinking about wearing one or two of them, especially while you're farming safe areas. They save you just a lot of time. I thought we got one. As you can see, the nets, they're pretty consistent. So be a little careful. There's an encampment up here. Typically has a lot of these guys. It's a good farming spot. And you've got the cave up here too, which has a lot of them as well. Raven's Beak. I can't remember you being okay. Building damage, reduction to health, reduced armor, reduced resistances. Yeah, that thing's pretty good. If I wasn't using throwing weapons as damage, I'd more than happily use this. The damage would be quite strong. I should probably point out how this works for people that don't know. See how it says 22 to 207 armor? Every time you hit an enemy, it will roll between 22 and 207. And say it rolls 50 on your first hit, it'll reduce the armor by 50. But then it rolls 40 on the second hit, well, it will stay at 50. But if you hit again and you roll 110, then it will drop it by 110, which is what makes it really strong. That's why you want a lot of attack speed with something like this. So the more you hit, the higher your chance of getting those, the better rolls, especially the resistances. 20 isn't high, but it still adds up. That's quite a lot. The reduced armor, 200 is pretty good. But yeah, very strong item. I'll give it a go for a little bit. Now you want to be careful of the boss up here. This guy, he can do a bit of damage. I'd recommend dragging the rest of them out first. Damage on this is pretty good. That's quite a strong item, that one. You could definitely use it. I think I'll stick with what I've got though. It's tough. Like the 30 dexterity it gives you is pretty nice too. What's the attack speed like? It's a bit faster. I just kind of like this one because it's got a lot of converted to health on it. Plus the slower attack. It's quite nice too. I don't know. You could definitely use this. But the main reason you have these two setups is you get one for defensive and one for offensive. And if you're running around with offensive on both, that's a little more dangerous. And these things are more than strong enough for your damage. Okay, now here's the situation I was kind of talking about earlier, but something you really want to be careful of. Say you've got 3 of these guys. If these guys throw at the right time, they can keep you stunned permanently until you die. Other enemies around will kill you. You really want to be careful of that rock thrower attack, because they can chain stun you to death. Just be very careful. Honestly, if you see it, like this setup, just skip it. It's the safer thing to do. Just run past them. It's not worth it. You can kill them, like if you get up in their face, you attack them right here, they won't throw anymore. They only do it when you're at a distance. But the problem is, if I was to fight this guy here, well, this one would just sit there throwing rocks at me the whole time, and this guy too. As you can see, he's got one in the air already. It's not worth it. Just skip. We're coming up on another area where there's an item you can farm, which, if you didn't happen to get any good throwing weapons up until now, these things can really make the difference. They're not too rare either. Once you get inside the big cave up ahead. Yeah, up inside here. I'll clear this out first though. And so the guys inside here, these Diverga, they're kind of like little mini troll sort of enemies. I don't really know what they are in mythology. I've never looked them up. But there's a specific throwing weapon that they can have. I doubt we'll find one, but yeah, it's these guys here. And you'll notice it's pretty easy to find them. What are they called? Runestone. These ones. This is the normal difficulty one here. You have a look, the damage is pretty low, but they come with a flat 60 elemental damage, which bumps it up to almost 100. And +1 to magical charge, which is, where are we looking? This one here, which is a lot of damage. So yeah, you got +1 here, which is elemental damage and retaliation, plus the flat elemental. And if you have a look at the legendary one, you get about 110 damage on average, which isn't great, but you get a flat 220, which is huge. That's crazy. That's a lot of damage. And you got +3, which is also very nice. And so yeah, if you don't find anything good, definitely go out of your way to grab some of these. They're not that rare. There's a lot of these guys in here. You'll find the places that, like, I can just run through here and none of these guys will have them. Because if you have a look, you'll notice them throwing. The animation is pretty obvious. It'll either be a crossbow or the throwing weapon. And the crossbow guys attack from further range than the throwing, so it's pretty easy to spot them. No, nothing here. And so when you're running through, if you notice someone fire a projectile, like a long-range shot at you, it could be worth taking a look to see if they're a throwing weapon. Now, we've got two things here to point out. This boss coming up ahead, I believe he is Beast and Demon. He first starts off as Beast, as you can see, so we'll go ahead and, oops. Goodness sake. We'll throw in a little bit of that. You don't need much for this part. He's not too bad. But once you kill this thing, there's two, if you have a look, there's two guys sitting on top of it in their little chairs. They'll jump off and they're actually demons. So once that's down, you want to do it again. Swap this, for goodness sake. There we go. And you want to put your demon gear into reduction, because this guy more so, the mage, he can be a little dangerous. But just keep in mind, these two guys, they can hurt a bit. If you're not prepared for them, maybe you could die. They also drop some other decent things too around here with the forge. Where are we looking? Yeah, these things here. The 15 elemental res. If that rolls with something good, you could use it. And this too. You get, there's a few different weapons. They have the same stats on them. It's just devices and constructs, which isn't very good. But Rune Red Explode, that's quite nice. The stun, pretty good. Arc of attack, which means your melee attack will hit more than one enemy. Magma Strike, that's just a little bit more elemental damage. And the sword too. The sword I find is much more rare than either of these, the axe or the mace. But yeah, pretty good. You got attack speed, magical charge. You could use them, for sure. And they drop off the same guys that drop the these things. So you'll find all of that around here. There's these ones too, the mage versions. It's the same thing really. But yeah, they're not bad items. You could outfit your character with them for sure. And now this is the first part of the quest that you really should do. You get two skill points for doing this. So there's the first one. And the second one's really not very far away. And so, as I said, you want to check all these guys, because if some of them start using ranged attacks on you, it's worth checking to see if they're using a throwing weapon, because these things are really good. They're an easy way to cheat yourself into a lot of damage, especially as a Ren character, but you can use them on any really that is work particularly well with Rune. And here's the second one. As I said, it's really not very far. If you sprint through it, it's not far at all. I'll go down here and kill the boss before I turn that quest in, but yeah, it's 2 skill points, so there's no, you really should do it on every character. Now this guy here, this big mushroom, he can put you to sleep, which is about the only dangerous thing about him. He'll put you to sleep, but that's about it, really. Nothing to worry about. And here I'll show off this perfect block. He's so slow that his regular attack, you see how you can completely negate the damage? On dangerous enemies like Surtur or Typhon or Hades, if you can see these attacks coming, you can completely negate all of his damage. Even effects too, it completely absorbs them. Like if you're taking heaps of bleeding damage and you're going to die, just press the button and all the bleeding damage will stop. So that, no damage at all. The more you practice using this skill, the easier you'll find it. Alright, so we'll go back. Now, the only annoying thing about this quest to get the skill points is you can't teleport there. There's no convenient portal. So what you have to do is go to Scandia and run through it again. It doesn't take too long, it just requires you to go out of your way a little bit. But the skill points are worth it. That's +6. With all difficulties put together, which is huge. And so you just grab it here and hit your reset player button to go all the way back to where you were. Easy. 2 skill points. Do I want any of this? Not really. I'm happy with that for now. Some more skill points. And there's some enemies coming up I want to point out to you too. You can kill yourself pretty quickly. Ah yeah, and this too. These scrolls of primal chaos, you're going to use these all the time. Through epic and legendary. What you'll do, you'll save up a bunch of money and just buy, I don't know, 30, 40 of them. And just keep them in your inventory. They stack up to 10 each. So you keep a few stacks of them. What they are pretty much exactly the same as Colossus. They do the exact same thing. Reduce your damage by 40%, increase your total damage, slow you down a bit, but you run faster. But yeah, you're going to use these all the time, once the game gets harder. They're good panic buttons, they're good for travelling distance. And if your Colossus is on cooldown, you still have these. I'll show it off. It's the same thing. You just get this kind of shield effect around you. Yeah, you're really going to want to stack up on a lot of those in the harder difficulties. Farm them in normal. You can buy them off the shops pretty easy. Just save and reset over and over. Farm them probably around in Asgard. Once you grab that portal, it's probably the fastest way. And yeah, stack up on a lot of those. They last a while, reduce your damage, increase your damage. Great for boss fights. Great panic button. Just probably the strongest scroll in the game, I'd say. Oh, and I didn't get very far. I literally just ran from here to here. But this is the first enemy I wanted to talk about. These guys here. They can reflect your damage. They'll put up a shield. They'll like turn into a barrier kind of form. Yeah, like that. That there, you hit that, you'll start taking damage yourself. See my health go down pretty quickly. You want to be careful. I'd recommend skipping them, just run past them. They take too long to kill, the experience isn't worth it. But you also have a bunch of, like a similar sort of effect coming up too. See, these guys here, they have the Yggdrasil word on them. It's like a naming convention. Everything that has that word attached to it, every time you hit them, they'll reflect your damage back to you. If you watch my health, every time I hit them, I was losing about 50 to 100 health. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, but if you start... See these guys here, the snakes, there's the eagles, they'll all do the same thing, they'll reflect your damage. Now, if you run up right in the face of one of them and throw Thunderstrike, all 10 hits, you're going to take 2,000 damage in a second, easily. Now, these guys do it, the spiders do it, these eagles do it. There's the big tree looking things too. Oh yeah, the praying mantises, they do it. Everything here reflects your damage. So I recommend skipping it. Here we go, this big tree. Just don't fight them. They're not worth it. You can kill yourself too easily. Now, you can get something decent from them. How's that pronounced? There we go. Yeah, this drops from some of those guys. So it does flat elemental damage, which is very good. 20% of your damage becomes elemental, which means the this here, the 60 to 79 damage, that will make 20% of that into elemental, and it goes up as you go along. They're very strong though, like really, really strong. The flat damage on its own is powerful, but because you can stack it with Ruined Weapon, which increases your elemental damage, your intelligence, which also increases your elemental damage, plus you've got flat here, more here as well. These things are really strong for damage. What I would do, typically I'd get one here and an epic one and throw them onto these items I've been keeping. These tinkerers. You put 2 of them on there, one from each difficulty, and that's a lot of damage. You can do 10 times the damage I'm doing now just by getting these 2 rings up and going. It's huge. And it's only even stronger if you were to use something like that that Raven Beak item I found before, the one that reduces the resistances. Combine those 2 effects and you'll be clearing bosses out in seconds. Alright, and here we have Asgard. This can be dangerous. These archers aren't too bad. The Nixies, they'll hurt a bit, the water spirits. But the main guys you gotta watch out for. I'll point them out. These guys here, the melee guys, they'll drop the banner, like the warfare battle flag, and that can boost these guys up really strong. You can die pretty quickly. I recommend typically skipping this area unless you want to farm. Because there are a few things here that you can farm for. I can get the where's the shields? My blind, there it is. You can get, here we go, Iron Henya's Stern. Very good shield. Recovery time, strong, damage is good. Block chance and block damage is good. These drop from the melee guys here. They'll have a chance to carry it. And you can get the Fate as well. This one, it's physical damage, it's very fast, increased damage. You get this too, which is chance to dual wield. Unfortunately, if you can't use two of them and to grant you the ability to dual wield, it's just the effect of if you're already dual wielding, this has a chance to happen. It's the same as this one here. Just a chance to hit with both your weapons. But yeah, if you don't want to farm here, I'd recommend just skipping. They're dangerous. They take a long time to kill. These guys here, they can they'll summon more of these guys. And so I just recommend skipping. They also heal them too. But it is a good farming spot if you want. Yeah, there's the battle flag. You really want to be careful.
We are at your side.
As you can see, they'll just take forever to die because you got these guys healing them and they'll apply that shield effect to everybody. It's just annoying. If you're not going to farm here, then just skip through the area. There is one other thing, the Valkyrie. One thing they can give you. These boots here, they come with a +1 to all skills, which could be pretty good if you find them with the right prefixes and suffixes. Yeah, they could be pretty good. They're very rare though, and they never roll good either. But just in case. Sometimes you'll find them while you're farming for a shield or a sword in here. Okay, so here's the boss fight. Now one thing you can do, which makes it a lot easier on you, you let Loki, or Yulva, rush in first, and she'll draw all their attention. And really, you can sit here until she kills them all, if you really want. But because she's in there now, and they're all attacking her, if you go in, you'll be safe. Sometimes you get Boulder, will shoot at you, and the mage, what's her name? Freya. Yeah, you get Freya. She'll attack you too. But it's a lot safer to let her run in first and draw all their fire.
Watch out.
Now, the attacks here you want to watch out for. These two, Odin and I think it's Thor. Tyr. Yeah, Tyr. They can hurt, but if they're focusing on her, it's no problem. Boulder can do a little bit of damage, he's not too bad. But Freya, you want to watch out for. She can do vitality damage, lightning. I think that's it. But she can hurt a bit. Just be careful of her the most. But as far as boss fights go, this one's really not difficult.
Watch out.
Oh, and you can't kill him until the rest of them are defeated. Because I believe in the mythology itself, actually. Once he does, that's the trigger for Ragnarok, which will bring about the end of the world. So I think in essence these three are keeping him safe. So once these three are defeated, then he's vulnerable. At least I think that's how the the thought behind this goes. So now these three are down. You can focus this guy. And he actually dies here, by the way. These three you've just knocked down. You've defeated them. But you actually killed Boulder. Now while I'm here, this is the place I like to farm for. There's none here at the moment, but those scrolls I was talking about before. These ones here, Primal Chaos. This is the vendor I like to use to farm them, because you've got the waypoint is just here, so save and reset, run in there and check. They're 200,000 each, which is nothing. If you go back and farm in Act 3, or even in Hades, you can farm for money just here. You can amass 200,000 very easily. And so what you should do is stack up 20 or 30 of them in your inventory. Come back in the next difficulty and do it. But they're highly worth it. They'll save your life for sure. Now this quest here can bug in multiple different ways. Sometimes you can run straight through here, even though the rainbow bridge hasn't appeared. Other times he'll never let you through, so just do a save and reset if that ever happens. I see people complaining about it all the time. The devs did fix it a little bit. It's not as bad as it used to be. Just so you know, if it ever breaks, a save and reset usually fixes it. Sometimes you can run through here earlier. I'm not sure what the exact trigger is for letting you through. And here's the giants I think I mentioned earlier. I recommend skipping them all the time. They take too long to kill. They don't drop anything good. Experience isn't good. They're just a waste of time. I highly recommend skipping them. Just don't waste your time. Farm elsewhere. And there's so many of them too. Okay, so here's the boss fight with the ice giants. You got the two normal ones, and where is he? There he is. Thrym. They're not that hard of a fight. They have a lot of crowd control, which can freeze you and stun you, and Thrym himself, he can hurt a little bit, especially once he drops his shield and starts just using the axe two-handed. It can do a fair bit. They're not too bad though. It's one of the easier boss fights. You notice there's that little ice speck. If you step near that, it will freeze you. And this wave will freeze you too, I think. Yep. And I'm sure if you go near those, they'll either hurt you or freeze you. And once you get into half health, they'll drop the shield. Maybe it's a third health. Yeah, there we go. 1/3. Now this form, this can actually do a bit of damage. It's not too bad though. He doesn't have much burst. And you can negate a hit with your shield. It's pretty easy. Yeah. One of the easier boss fights. Now, from this point of the game, I usually just sprint through as much of it as possible. Just skip through everything. All the enemies are giants. You know, they'll freeze you and stun you, and they take too long to kill. I just run through everything, really. Right up until almost near Serta. If you want, you can save Yova here. I'm not gonna bother. And this entire area, I'd recommend skipping. Just run past everything you can. There's nothing worth getting here. Experience isn't good. The enemies take way too long to kill. So just skip it. And I'll pick up where I find the next dangerous thing. It's probably the next boss. Okay, so here's another part I thought to mention. This area can be annoying, but you can get a lot out of it. These guys here, they will drain all your energy and remove your buffs if you kill them. I'll show you. You see that kind of electric effect? If that hits you, it'll drop your energy and remove the buffs. You can kill you if you've got a lot of other enemies around. From a distance, they're not too bad. Now, the main reason you want to farm this area is you can fight clones of yourself. They'll pop out of the ground, and what they'll do, what makes them special, is they can drop items, and they can drop every item that you're carrying currently, except for your relic. But there will be re-rolled versions of them. Now let's take a look at this. See how this has 19% strength and 10% health? Well, if I was to kill myself and he dropped this item in particular, those two stats would be re-rolled. It'd be as if I found the item again with the same stats, but another chance at a better version of it. The stats are the same, like it will always be a hail plate, or this will always be a robust of the Tikara, but the stat rolls themselves will be redone. And they don't always drop an item that you're carrying, it's just a chance to drop any item that you have. Hopefully we'll find one. I'll run through and see if I can get one to pop up. It doesn't always happen, but it's fairly common. Now, it being yourself means that it works differently from a lot of other enemies in the game. They'll have all the effects you do, skills, so yeah, all your items. So if you have something that you think could be dangerous to yourself if you were to fight it, be careful. Reflect damage, that could get you.
You really should have come in. I was jesting earlier. You had me expecting.
Here we go. See, here I am. Now, I recommend getting to a spot where you can be safe, or at least try and clear out all the enemies. See all this? I don't want to try and fight myself with all these other idiots running around. It's too much. It's too dangerous. Now, you have two options. You can run and try and find a safer area, like run backwards, or you can try and tank it out. Because he's not going to use Colossus, he's not going to use Phalanx. I can stand here and see if I can hold my ground. There he goes, and unfortunately, he didn't drop anything this time. But they can be very worth it. say if you found this item, and this was an amazing, incredible item, this Boar Hunter's Shield, like your end game kind of item, but it didn't roll exactly as good as you wanted it to. Say the shield block chance rolls up to 5%. What you would do is you'd farm this area over and over and over again, and eventually you would drop the same item, and all these stats would be re-rolled. Eventually you would get the one you're looking for, you'd get the 5%. And yeah, that's how you make your end game character even stronger. Or even, you know, something like this, get more health on it. Or here, maybe you want more movement speed. It's worth doing. Just be careful. These guys can be annoying. They'll remove your buffs, which means you'll die quickly. They can hurt a little bit. Hopefully we get one more. Sometimes you get two of yourself. I think I've even seen 3 once. It doesn't look like it though.
There we are.
Okay, now here's the boss. He doesn't hurt too much, but he can kill you in ways you wouldn't expect. If you have a look over here, this area, you can actually go there. You can't walk to it, but he can teleport you over there, and you'll be stuck. You can't do anything to get out of that spot until he decides to teleport you back. And he'll just sit here the whole time shooting shit at you. You'll make copies of himself and they'll all attack you. And if you can't go anywhere, you'll just die if you're stuck in there. And now, he'll make, as I said, he'll make copies of himself. And the way to tell which one is the real one is the first one that spins around in a circle. I'll show it off.
Which one is it?
That one. So how he moved first, I mean, it's pretty obvious because he had the shield around him, but he doesn't always have that. Once he makes these, it's that one. It's keep an eye on him, the one who moves first.
Over here. What are you doing?
And he can disorient you too. See how he teleported me over there? And he'll change positions with these guys too. And sometimes instead of teleporting you in this arena, he'll just shoot you over up the top here. And you're stuck. And you could be stuck for minutes until he decides to send you out. And if you kill him, like if you manage to throw or shoot him with a bow and he dies over here, you're just stuck over there. And so you have to use your teleport to get out.
Which one is it? Over here.
But yeah, he's not too much of a threat himself. Like his attacks, I was plenty safe to just stand there and eat them. It's not a problem. You just want to be careful of his teleports. It can put you in a bad position. Now I'll stick with you because there's another boss coming up too. And these guys here, those have that Yggdrasil name on them, which means they'll reflect all your damage. So just don't fight them. It's not worth the risk. And so here's the boss coming up. He isn't too bad. He doesn't have a lot of burst damage. His Nidhogg. He has a lot of damage over time. Like he can spit poison on the ground, he can summon zombies. He's relatively easy as far as bosses go. He is magical, which means I don't have much that reduces his damage, apart from this. So I'll go ahead and put that on. show his attacks. That's the poison. That can do a fair bit. I think that burns your energy. I think he has a fire breath attack too. There's the zombies he summons. That's a stun. Yeah, there's the fire breath. And I think that's all of his attacks. If you're in melee, he'll bat you and smack you as well. But he's not too bad. But yeah, he's not bad. He just doesn't have enough instant burst damage to be much of a threat. There's a lot more dangerous bosses coming up soon. Serta, obviously, but there's one that a lot of people don't think about, which could kill you. I'll point her out when we get to her. Okay, here comes the first boss. Now, what she is a big version of these fire elemental ladies that fly around. They on their own can be pretty dangerous. You notice I've already put the less damage from demons equipment on, because they'll kill you very quickly, even with this 50% reduction. Have a look at the damage they'll do. I'll try and get them to hit me. Yeah, that's a lot. Very easy to die to. If you didn't have 50%, these guys would be extremely difficult to fight. The one good thing about them is they die pretty quickly. They just do a lot of damage. And I should mention these too. These fire giants, they do a lot. I'll try and get rid of this little imp in the way first, just so I can show off his damage. Now if you're fighting 2 or 3 of these at once, that's a lot of damage. It's 500, 700 damage per hit. 2 or 3 of those, they'll chunk through your health pretty quickly. Now, the problem with them is they're giants, and there's not an easy way to get giant damage reduction like you do for demons or undead or beasts or beastmen. Giants are pretty hard to find for. And these, you'll see, are actually giant and demons. And the demon means that they're easier to reduce than these guys are. They're still difficult though. Now the boss is just up ahead, but what I recommend doing is clearing out both sides first. She's not too bad, but just in case your character isn't ready to fight her on top of some of these guys at the same time, just clear the entire area. Because she has a nasty trick, which can be pretty deadly. Alright, that's all of them. Here she is. She's just a big version of those. She has the same kind of effects, just stronger. But she has one little thing that she can do. I'll show it off. And there it is. She can summon one of these guys, and they can hurt pretty badly. They can go down, like if you hit them in the face with your Thunder Strike, you can take them down. But you just gotta be careful. And you notice she is a giant Ender Demon as well. So this gets use. Okay, now it's time for the fight I worry about the most in every playthrough. Loki. Yeah, as I said, 3 at once. That's a lot of damage. You don't want to be eating that too often. Now, we did just level up. I think... I will go ahead and put them into this. More stats, that's good. And I'm going to put both into health this time, because I feel a little in danger. Just a little worried. Now what I'm going to do from here is sprint through everything, and then when I get to the end I'll clear off whatever has chased me the entire way. Now this is a lot. Hopefully I don't have to fight all of this. Okay, and so here we have Loki just up ahead. Now I hate this fight. This is the fight that I always feel like has the highest chance to kill me in every playthrough. Oh, I did find this before too. It's pretty good. 140 defensive ability and 12%. That's very strong. Let's take a look. 472, 673. That's a lot of defensive ability. That's huge. Yeah, stun resistance is good. The other resistances are okay. But yeah, that's quite strong. You could use that for sure. Now, I did buy 2 of these just for this fight, really. Now, Loki is a deity, obviously. I think technically in mythology you should be a giant from memory. Or that might just be Marvel Comics influencing my memory. I can't remember actually. But yeah, I don't have anything for him. Nothing I can equip that reduces his damage. He's just a pain in the ass. He does a lot of vitality, lightning, and even with this much vite resistance, he'll still do a shitload of damage. Like enough to kill you. And yeah, if you didn't know, you can run up and grab this first. Now the Ylva part, when you fight Loki in his disguise, she can be pretty dangerous. She does a lot of physical damage. It can stun you. She's not too bad though. It's when Loki comes out proper. That's when you gotta be careful.
Aren't we friends?
And yeah, he's already doing it. See this lightning cloud? It does so much damage, and he has these attacks where he shoots, I think, like a triple blast. He also causes environmental damage, like fire will shoot out of the lava over here at you. I'll try and show off his attacks. Yeah, there's that triple attack. It's pretty strong. He's really fast too. And those red balls, you can teleport, he'll blast you. There's the fire I was talking about. I tend to find he's easier to fight if you get right up in his face, but that's also very dangerous too. if you look at that, he out-damaged my healing potion while I have the Colossus or the Scroll active, which shows you how much damage he's doing. It's ridiculous. Like, if I didn't have this active, there's no way I'd be able to stand right next to him and fight. And I believe the lower his health gets, I think he gets more aggro, like he'll attack faster, he hits harder. I might be wrong about that though. I kind of remember reading something like that. Finally. Yeah, he's a real nasty fight, that one. And he only gets harder too, on Epic and Legendary. He does even more damage, like relative to your character. So from here, I'm just going to run straight through to Surtur. I'll point out something you should be careful of there. Aside from these guys, they're obviously pretty dangerous. There's some enemies I find even worse than them in here. The next couple of floors, typically. They're these dark elves. They're archer characters. They're really small. They do a lot of damage, and I believe they curse you as well. They put like some sort of effect on you. Yeah, these ones. I'd recommend skipping them. Just run past them. You can die very easily. Like, the safest way to do this would to be clear it out slowly. Take them enemy by enemy. I just want to get to Surtur as fast as I can. This video is going to be long enough. Yeah, there it is. If you saw just then, there was like an orange kind of effect above my head. I think that's either the archers or it's the female fire giants. One of the two. Apply it. Here it is. Black elf. Yeah, well, there you go. I'm not sure what it does. I mean, it doesn't say. I think it's makes you take increased damage or reduces your resistances or something like that. So just be careful. They are demons, the same as some of the other enemies around here, so you can equip your demon reduction. It should help with them a fair bit. And one other little trick, because I'm being chased by 6,000 enemies right now, you can grab this fountain, and if they do follow you through to here, if there's too many, just save and exit, and you'll spawn at the fountain and no more will be chasing you. But I got lucky. Sometimes they follow you. And here he is. And yet again, I should point out, these came from the first half of Act 1, and they are still shredding enemies, despite the fact I haven't been putting points into damage at all. Everything is defensive, and these things are still keeping up. As I said, these are ridiculously strong for how long they last. Just the sheer versatility you get out of them. Act 1 weapons shouldn't be doing this good. Okay, here's Surtur. He's not too bad. As I say, I've noticed, I try to say everything's not too bad, but in this case it's true.
Asgard will burn.
Yeah, no, right. His first form, when he's in this little fire giant, like these other guys back here, pretty easy. He doesn't do a lot of damage. It's once he's in a real giant form, once he's in these pools of lava, that's when you've got to worry about him. Like, he does hurt, definitely hurts, but he's nothing really to worry about. Just make sure you don't stand in that. It's easy enough to see. And you can avoid that fire wave pretty easily. You can see when he does it. Rather than swing his sword, he'll kind of jab it towards you. Like that. It's easy to dodge. Now he does a few different things in... I'll wait for him to pop out. In this form. He'll throw rocks at you, which do a surprising amount of damage. You'll want to dodge them. And not only do they hit you and do damage, they blow up afterwards, which also does more. He'll put like a little fire circle thing that chases you. That does a lot. He will reflect your damage. He'll have that same orange bubble around him. You really don't want to hit him when he has that up. And the other thing that makes him just slightly more difficult than he should be, here, and yeah, there's that reflect damage. You don't want to attack him when he's like this. Here, you can see there's one there, and here, he'll summon enemies when he goes through his stages. Like when he appears here, he'll summon enemies up there, and when he appears here, he'll summon enemies here, and they can do a pretty big amount of damage. You'll want to watch out for them. His attacks aren't too hard to dodge. Just make sure you don't shotgun yourself to death with Thunderstrike. If he pops up that reflect damage, you can kill yourself. Here's the rocks. They will hit and do damage, and then they'll blow up. I'll show them off. Like that. It does a lot. I'll try and show off the other attacks. Yeah, here's a little ball. That just runs up and hits you. I'm not too sure what the effect is. Let's see if I can find out. Yeah, it just blows up. If you're close to him, he'll smack you, which can do a fair bit. Does a few thousand damage. There he summoned another one again. You really want to use your throwing weapon setup during this fight. One other thing you can do, you can drop your phalanx. Just drop them right on top of him, or in front. You'll get more to hit. It's damage. Here's the next form. You can see he'll summon the little guys up here. This part of the fight can be annoying because, as you can see, he's blocked off this entire way. And I don't want to go in there right now because he'll stun me. I'll get blown up by this stuff. That's a lot of damage. So just run in, hit him, run out again. That's a lot of damage. Alright, there we go. Oh wow, 3 at once. Alrighty, what we get? That's pretty good. We'll never hit the intelligence for it, but that's pretty strong. Recharge, experience, lots of resistance. I think this thing's pretty good too. Yeah, that's quite strong. You could use it. And this too, a lot of damage. It could, it's strong enough to carry you through upper difficulty. I've used one before. Attack speed, casting speed. It also has wildfire, which is kind of like just like a, puts like a burning effect on the ground. It's pretty strong. You could definitely use it. It's probably comparable in damage. Yeah, and there we go. That was normal difficulty. Alright. Now there's a few things I want to do before I start normal, start epic, sorry, start that proper. I want to go back and farm the golden ball. Do a few runs, maybe 50 to 100 runs. Now one thing you can look at, a vitality resistance in epic is already lower. That's not hard to get up. In Act 2, we'll just refarm the Amun-Ra's and the Ankervises with the better versions. That'll be very easy to cap out again. But as you can see, all the other resistances have gone down even further, which just means we're going to be taking more and more damage. Yeah. What else was I going to talk about? Right. It'll probably be 1 to 2 weeks before the next video. I'm just going to be busy with family stuff. I'll try and get it out as soon as I can though. At least a week, bare minimum. But yeah, don't worry if it's a bit of time between uploads. The next one will come out. And epic and legendary, there won't be as many videos. Because I won't have to show off every boss fight. Like you know how they work. I've shown you the things to look out for. Certain items to farm, like I don't have to explain where you get the Amun-Ra's glory from. I'll just skip it and show you once I've finished farming everything. Yeah, I'll probably go through each of the next 2 difficulties in a couple of videos, 2 or 3 each maybe, just to show off the progress, and they'll probably be pretty quick as well. Yeah, that's about it. As for this first act, there's nothing here I want to get. I'm just going to skip through it as fast as I can. Do the quests, get to Act 2, farm up the Amun-Ra's and the Ankervises. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Yeah, as I said, probably a week, maybe a little more before the next one. One thing you could do, you can go and spend your Electrum right now. You can go and do that. The epic orbs are pretty good. You can get stuff that's good enough to clear legendary from them. But I personally prefer to wait, and I think I will. I'll wait until I start legendary. And by then we should have probably around 1.5 million, maybe 2 million, depending on how much I choose to farm. And yeah, that's about it. You notice now that enemies will get harder to hit, they'll take longer to kill, they'll hurt you more. But you can keep up with it. Once you hit about 15,000 health, you get this maxed out. You're pretty fine for epic and most of legendary. Really, you can get to 40,000 health if you really want, but more than 25,000, that's plenty. You don't need to go further than that. I will replace this eventually, but not anytime soon. It's strong enough for the moment. Yeah, and that's about it. And as for just items, like, I want to try to replace these just to increase the armor value itself. See, 81. That's really not very good for epic or legendary. I will, and we'll farm up another stone banders in this act as well. The extra +1 to skills will be very strong. Okay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in a couple weeks.